Part 6, Self-Mastery. Then spake, again, Krishna, the blessed Lord, unto Arjuna, the prince of the Pandus, saying, Hearken unto my words, O Prince. Truly say I unto thee, that he, who performeth honorably and to the best of his ability, such action as may appear to him to be plain and righteous duty, remembering always that he has naught to do with the reward or fruits of the action, is both a renouncer of action, and also a performer of the service of right action. More truly is he an ascetic and renouncer than he who merely refuses to perform actions, for the one hath the spirit of the doctrine, while the other hath grasped merely the empty shell of form and letter. Know thou such intelligent right action as renunciation, and also know that the best of right action without intelligent understanding of the renunciation of results is not right action at all. In the earlier stages of the path, right action is taught as the most merit-gaining plan, while to the same man, when he hath attained wisdom and understanding of the doctrine, and hath also freed himself from attachment even unto right action, then to him calm meditation and serene peace of mind is called the better. To each is given, according to his needs and stage of unfoldment. When a man frees himself from attachment to the fruits of action itself or the objects of the sense world, then hath he reached the highest stage of right action. Let each raise up his soul by the knowledge of the real self, and let not the soul be depressed nor cast down, for truly hath it been said that the real self is the lover of the soul, and its true friend. Notwithstanding the fact that the ignorant soul may feel that the real self is its enemy, inasmuch as it tends to annihilate its sense of separate personality. The real self is the friend of him in whom the personality hath yielded mastery, but to him whose personality is defiant, the real self appeareth as his bitterest foe. Whereas, in truth, the real self is seeking but to liberate the soul from its own bondage of illusion and error, seeking to add to its riches, rather than to rob and despoil it of things of worth. Thus, through the smoke of illusion and error, the true friend is seen as the bitter enemy. The soul of him who hath perceived the real self within him is peaceful and calm, in heat and cold, in pleasure and pain, in that which the world calleth honor and dishonor. The wise man is content with the knowledge and wisdom which hath been unfolded to him, as earth's rarest treasures. His senses are harmonized by self-mastery, and wisdom hath taken the place of desire. Such an one excelleth in wisdom, to such an extent that he regardeth both friends and enemies, aliens and countrymen, saints and sinners, the righteous and unrighteous with equal love and sense of brotherhood. The yogi sitteth in his secret place, engaged in meditation and deep thought, with mind and body mastered by the real self. He is divorced from greed and desire of reward. He sitteth in a clean place, neither too high or too low, his seat made of a cloth, a black antelope skin, and gusha grass, arranged as his teachers have well taught him, in accordance with the traditions of his kind. Sitting thus, he mastereth his mind, and directeth it to one point of concentration, holding at the same time his senses and wandering thoughts firmly in hand. Sitting thus steady and at rest, he doth purify his soul by directing his consciousness upon the real self, the absolute which underlieth all. With his body well under control, according to the traditional customs of the yogi, he gazeth undisturbed into the eternal and infinite, seeing naught of the world of sense around him. Serene, fearless and at peace, firm in his resolve, his mind, controlled and harmonized, is directed toward me, to whom he aspireth. And, such a yogi, thus united with his real self, and with mind thus controlled, passeth into that peace and bliss which is to be found in me alone. Of a truth, to him who eateth like a glutton, or else maketh too much of a virtue of fasting, or who is too much inclined to sleep, or else who doth make a virtue of abstaining from sleep, cometh not the true yogi knowledge. Such a one inclineth too much toward extremes, and departeth from the middle path of temperance. The yogi knowledge, which destroyeth pain, cometh rather to him who observeth moderation and temperance in eating, and recreation in action and rest, who in fleeing from the evil of excess of action, doth not run into the twin evil of the excess of repression. When a man's thought, mastered by the real self, and fixed upon the real self, findeth itself free from lust and desire, then indeed hath that man gained the inward harmony which bringeth peace and satisfaction. Then doth his mind become stable and steady, like the flame of the lamp which resteth in the place where no wind cometh to disturb or cause it to flicker. Such a mind delighteth in the contemplation of the real self, and is well content to dwell in its peace and presence. Seeing the real self by the aid of its own light, it realizes that it has all, and is therefore satisfied. The wise man findeth his chief delight in that which is far above anything that the mind can obtain by means of the senses, and having found it, resteth in its reality. Resting there in his new-found realm, he knoweth well that beyond it there is no greater satisfaction, and being securely established in it, the greatest sorrows and griefs of the life of the world disturb not his peace or content, for he hath risen above them. This freedom from pain and sorrow, is known by the name of Yoga, which means spiritual union. Clasp it well to thee, O Prince, with firm resolution and with confident expectation, casting behind thee the vain desires of the imagination, and mastering, by enlightened mind, the inclinations of the senses. Step by step wilt thou attain tranquility and calm, by the exercise of the awakened mind, guided by the spiritual. The mind once fixed upon the real self, it is folly for it to wander away from its supreme object. But if it doth, be thou vigilant to rein in the unruly steed, and by skillful guidance, lead it steadily back to where thou hast bidden it stand. The man, who hath attained this peace of mind, who hath gained this mastery of the carnal mind, hath departed from that which the world calls sin, hath escaped from error, hath passed into the realm of truth. Harmony of mind and soul and the blissful state, is his. He seeth the real self in all, and all in the real self. He seeth that one is all, and all is one. Verily, say I unto thee, that he who seeth me in all, and all in me, him will I never forsake, nor will I suffer him to forsake me. Forever shall I bind him to me, with the golden fetters of love, which chafe not nor fret the soul. Yea, even say I that he who realizeth me in my unity, and who loveth me so, him shall I cause to live forever within my being, even though he appeareth to live separately in his own mode of life, even in this world. The true yogi, O Arjuna, is he who knoweth by what he hath found within himself, that there is one underlying essence pervading all life, and things, and recognizeth all pain and pleasure as of equality and sameness of nature. A great yogi is such a one, O Prince. Arjuna, alas, O Krishna, I am unable to accept thy teaching of the steadfastness of the controlled mind, of which thou hast spoken. I know the mind to be most restless, unsteady, turbulent, strong and stubborn, obstinate, and not yielding readily to the will. As well tell me to curb and control the wind, as it bloweth and passeth, now the gentle breeze, and now the raging storm, as to master and control with steady hand this mysterious principle which is called the mind. Krishna, well sayest thou, O Prince, that the mind is restless and as difficult to restrain as the winds. Yet by constant practice, discipline and care may it be mastered. True it is that yoga is most difficult of attainment, by a soul that is uncontrolled and that lacketh the touch of the hand of the master. But, nevertheless, the soul, when it has recognized the master touch of the real self, may attain unto true yoga by care and patience, coupled with firm resolution and determination. Arjuna, what fate befalleth him, O Krishna, who though being filled with earnest faith, faileth to attain perfection in yoga, because of his unmastered mind wandering away from the path of discipline and mastery? Doth he, thus standing between the merit of right action on one hand, and spiritual attainment on the other, lacking each support, and yet gaining not the other, doth he like a broken cloud, having severed its allegiance, and yet having failed to gain a new one, come to nothing and melt away to nothingness? Is he, standing thus confused in the very path of the Absolute, lost and forsaken? Answer me this my question, O Krishna, for it doth sore perplex me, and none other than thee can stritely inform me. Krishna, know thou then, Arjuna, that such a one findeth not destruction either here nor in the worlds to come. His faith hath saved him alive, his goodness hath preserved him for annihilation. The path of destruction is never for him who hath lived righteously, and with faith reached out toward me. The man whose devotions and faith, attended by good works, were unattended by acquirement of the full discipline, such an one, I say, after death, cometh to a place of abode devoted to the righteous who have not as yet found deliverance. Dwelling there happily for an immensity of years, the soul is finally reborn in conditions and surroundings best adapted to the further attainment and unfoldment that await it. Perhaps, even, it may be reborn in the immediate family and company of some learned yogi, although such a reward is bestowed only when fully deserved and called for by the law. There, in the new life, doth he regain that which he hath acquired in the former life, and is thus enabled to take up the lesson where it was left off, and thereby advance gradually to a more perfect mastery. Nothing once gained is ever lost by death. The essence of attainment is preserved and bestowed upon the newborn soul. His earnest reaching out for the attainment of yoga carrieth him even farther than would the mere study of the sacred writings. And laboring with patience, perseverance and application, freed from his errors, and fully developed through many rebirths, he attaineth the goal he seeketh, and obtaineth peace and mastery. Thus thou sayest that the faithful and earnest seeker after truth, he who doth the best he can and ever trusts to the workings of the law, is greater by far than the fanatics who seek merit by penance and self-torture. Yea, also, better even, than many who call themselves learned, is he. And more merit hath he than many of those who seek merit by good works. Therefore, O Arjuna, become thou one who, with faith and love, letteth my love and life flow through him. Of all the yogis, O Prince, I consider him the most devoted whose heart is filled to overflowing with love for me, and who dwelleth in perfect faith. Thus endeth Part 6 of the Bhagavad Gita, which Part 1, called Self-Mastery,